A few years ago, I started using guitar in all of my songs, and it's one of the few instruments that I think is really fun to play, but also just sounds really nice and goes with a bunch of different genres. However, when I first started doing this, there wasn't really much information on actually recording a clean guitar take. I had to figure it out myself, and over the years, I've developed this little way to actually make guitars sound clean. Nothing super crazy, it's really simple, and it's not really much to think about. But since I know that at some point I was wondering, how do I even start recording guitar on my computer in the first place? Today, we're gonna be going over that because I know somebody out there is probably thinking the same thing. What's up, geniuses? My name is Adriel Vera, and welcome back to the channel where you learn to show your genius. Recording guitar is actually super easy. You only need a few things, obviously a guitar being one of them, but unfortunately, a guitar is not the only thing you need to get it to sound clean. Speaking of guitars, let's go over the first thing. You want to make sure that you have a good guitar in the first place to use for your songs. I have a nice little Fender right here. Super happy about this guitar. It is so nice. And no, this video is not sponsored by Fender, but it is supported by those of you who have joined my Vocal Genius vocal mixing course. If you want to know how to mix your vocals to get that clean professional sound, feel free to check it out in the link in the description. It helps support the channel and you'll get to know my techniques on vocal mixing. Anyway, let's talk about the guitar. I have a few electric guitars, but the problem that I was running into is that the pickups on those guitars were just bad. Some guitar pickups will have a lot of electrical noise, so when you're actually trying to record the guitar on your computer, it sounds very staticky. So making sure that you have a good guitar in the first place is going to be your top priority. It's like a microphone, essentially. When you have a microphone, if you have a bad microphone, your vocals or whatever you're trying to record is going to sound bad. So it starts off with the equipment. Make sure you have a good guitar with good pickups. Besides the guitar, what else you're going to need is an audio interface. The reason why you're going to need one of these is because, unfortunately, you can't just plug your guitar into the computer and record it. Guitars use 1/4 inch jacks, and there is no 1/4 inch connection on computers. My computer is over there, and it definitely does not have a 1/4 inch jack. If your computer has one, you have a weird computer, my friend. So make sure you get yourself an audio interface that comes with 1/4 inch jacks. This is the Scarlett 2i2. I've had this for a few years, and it's a really decent audio interface for beginners. I do recommend it. However, this is an older model, so please get the newer updated version. Those are going to be the essential pieces of equipment that you're going to need to record a guitar. So once you got that all sorted, let's actually hop into FL Studio to show you how to record it and the best mixing practices to make sure it sounds super clean and beautiful. Let's go. All right, here we are in FL Studio. Got my nice guitar next to me, and we're going to record our guitar into FL Studio. Now, a few things to keep in mind when actually recording. Make sure that your guitar is not up close right next to anything like electrical, such as wires or lights or anything, because as you can hear, the closer I get to my little what do you call it, the outlet extension, you hear a lot more electrical noise, and then when you pull it away, it's not as apparent. And so you want to make sure that you keep your distance from anything that could interfere with your guitar recording. Obviously, make sure your guitar is in tune, and make sure you have a good audio cable. If you have a cheap 1/4 inch jack, you're more likely to run into that electrical noise. So make sure you have a nice 1/4 inch cable going from your electric guitar into your audio interface. On top of that, you want to make sure that your gain is set correctly on your audio interface. As you can hear when I strum this guitar, and as you can look right here on the screen, we are not peaking. If this is set too high, we're going to peak. Ooh, sorry, that was not meant to be too loud. But as you can tell, there's that distortion. And if it's too low, it's going to be too quiet. And when you try to boost up the gain, that electrical noise is going to be more apparent. So make sure you have your gain set at a correct amount, you know, a good level, but you don't want it to be peaking. So we're going to set it somewhere around here. And now when I strum, not peaking. So I am going to record this guitar into FL Studio, and I'm actually going to record this guitar take twice. You'll see why in a bit. What I'm actually going to do first is unlink the guitar from the master. That way I can strum it without hearing it, because unfortunately my computer has way too much latency. So when I play this, it's going to sound out of sync with the tempo. So this just helps me play it more on time if I'm not directly monitoring it. And fortunately for me, my audio interface actually has direct monitoring, so I can still hear it through my audio interface, just not through FL Studio. Even though this is unlinked to the master, it's still going to record. And if you're not an FL Studio user, none of this even matters anyway. So I'm going to make sure that my metronome is on, and I'm going to record. All right, so now that you have your first take, you're gonna have to record that second take. Same exact thing. Wasn't perfect, but this is just an example, so we're not really trying to get this perfect. So now, once you're done recording your guitar, feel free to put it away. My headphones are stuck. This is so difficult. So the reason why I wanted you to record 2 takes is because what we're going to do is going to pan one left and one right. This way, it's going to give us more sense of space when we're listening, and as you can compare, that sounds so nice and wide and open, as opposed to keeping them both directly in the center, mono. Not as wide and open, doesn't sound as good. So panning one left and panning one right is going to give you a nice sense of space. And now because we recorded this and you are actually playing, some of the timing might be off in your audio. Fortunately, I think it sounds pretty decent here. However, just in case you ever ran into the problem where your timing is off in terms of your playing, you can always open up new time, get your audio clip, bring it in here, and use this plugin to actually quantize your guitar playing. So you can go over here, click quantize time, and it sounds pretty quantized. If you ever have to go in and adjust things manually, let's say right here, this wasn't on the right timing for whatever reason, you can find the transient of that strum, double click, it'll set a new point, and then you can adjust this wherever you want. However, like I said, I think our take is pretty good in terms of timing, so I'm going to delete new time. And in order to get a clean sound for your guitar, I like to kind of work these as I do with vocals. So first of all, I'm going to come in here, add a compressor. I know this says Fruity Limiter, but if you don't know, Fruity Limiter also has a compression option. And I'm going to compress this. Reason being is that when it comes to your song, it is going to be easier to balance a guitar within your song if it's compressed, because obviously when you're playing, there are different points of loudness. When you strum, it's going to be louder than the tail of the strum. And so adding in a compressor is going to balance out the dynamics of your guitar, therefore making it evenly level in terms of volume, and therefore making it easier to mix within your song. So I'm going to come in here, click play, adjust the threshold, adjust the ratio, and then bring down some of this release. If you don't know how compressors work, essentially all we're doing right here is telling the compressor that anything above this line is going to be compressed by 3 decibels. So for every 3 decibels above this line that we set, it is going to be converted to 1 decibel, therefore balancing out the dynamics, making it a lot less different in terms of volume. Hopefully that makes sense. If you want to know more about compressors, feel free to check out this video and the eye icon appear only after you're done watching this video. So now that we got this compressed, what I like to do is, again, treat it like a vocal and throw in some EQ. All this does is help us turn the volume up or down on certain frequencies of our sound, which helps us accentuate certain parts, allowing us to sculpt the sound in various ways to make it sound better. So first things first, I'm going to add a high pass filter because I feel like guitars sound better when there's less low end, because that low end I like to keep more so for the bass. I'm also going to make this shimmer a little bit more by bringing up the highs. And this is just personal preference, but sometimes I like to bring down the low mids as well. And that sounds very nice. Super clean guitar recording. Once you have the basics of your guitar recording done, now you can start doing some fun things like adding in effects such as a flanger to put in some modulation. And make it more indie sounding. You could also come in here, add in something like a shimmer reverb. And now you have a lot of super spaciness, ambience. There are so many things you can do with guitar, and you can shape it in so many different ways. The possibilities are quite endless with guitar, and it is up to you to experiment and have fun with it. All right, so here's a real world scenario of actually recording guitar. This is my song called Promise of a Parachute, and if you want to hear the entire song, feel free to check out links in the description. I actually have a few guitars in this song. I've got a bass guitar, electric guitar, and an acoustic guitar. However, the acoustic guitar is more so sampled from a voice memo that I had taken earlier last year. But really quick, I'm just gonna play the song for you so you can have a listen. One of my favorite songs that I've produced, not gonna lie. But really quick, just to show you, I have an electric guitar playing here, and what we got going on is some EQ and some shimmer reverb with Valhalla Shimmer. As you can tell, I did not compress this guitar, reason being that since these are just singular strums, I really didn't care too much for it to be dynamically balanced because that strum is supposed to tail off that way. But same principles apply. You got one guitar panned left, one guitar panned right, EQ'd some of the lows, boosted some of the highs, took out some of that low mid, and have some shimmer reverb to give this nice atmospheric sound. And so when you single them out, this is how it sounds like. Very ghostly. It's a really cool sound, and it fits perfectly with this song in my opinion. So I'm just gonna mute the vocals really quick. There's a bunch of different ways to have fun with guitars, and plus if you actually have pedals, you can include those in your songs as well. All you have to do is obviously plug the guitar into the pedal and then plug the pedal into your audio interface. Then boom, you can use those effects as well. I don't actually have any pedals because I'm not really much of a guitar player necessarily. I play guitar as a hobby, but I love including it in my songs. So all the effects I tend to use with plugins instead of actual pedals. It's really all preference because you could get a lot of the same effects with plugins instead of pedals. However, I know people have their preferences, so feel free to experiment and have fun. Again, if you want to check out the song, links are in the description. If you want to know how to mix your vocals, such as how I did with this song, feel free to check out the Vocal Genius mixing course in the description as well. And if you want to learn more about recording in FL Studio, feel free to check out this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't be afraid to show your genius.